How the heck are you, everybody? I'm Fastidious. Welcome to my channel. So, in case you missed it, and it seems like a lot of people kinda did, we have a fusion coming up, the first ever limited fusion on the global server in Watcher of Realms, and it's coming up in less than 3 days, in 2 days and 15 hours from when I am filming this. So why do I say first ever? You might be thinking, well, we had Alistair, and we had Vladov, and we had Lunaria, and so on and so on. Technically, all of those were shard summoning events. So they're kind of like shard collection events. You gather all those shards together, and then you summon that limited special hero, or the hero like the Epic Lord that was made available during the event. That is not what this is going to be. This is going to be a time-limited hero fusion where you gather copies of rares, you directly fuse them into epics, and you directly fuse those epics into Krodor over here, right? So there's a lot of basics to the fusion that I think some people might not know or might need refreshers on. So this is going to be a basics kind of introduction mini guide to how this fusion is going to work. I hope it's really valuable to a lot of people. So I'm going to answer the questions who, what, when, where, why, and how for this fusion and really break it down. The order I will actually go in is going to be when, what, where, how, who, and why, just for, natural flow's sake. But I thought this would be a nice format. It's going to be a pretty quick, punchy video. I just want to get you the information and get out. So without further ado, let's talk about the Krodor fusion. Get excited, people.
Fastidious.
Fastidious.
Alrighty, friends. First off, I want to say tomorrow I will have a full prep guide coming out showing how much stamina, how much promotion materials, how much XP you are going to need to get through this fusion when it comes to leveling up all the rare fodder and then epic fodder. However, this video is going to be all about answering the key questions as to how it's going to work and what the heck it is. So, let's start it off with when. The easiest question to answer. Well, right now it is Monday, at least for me in Eastern Standard Time. It's about midday here, but what's important is in just over 2.5 days, the fusion is going live. That is going to be Thursday, March the 21st, and then it's going to last all the way until April 8th. I do want to say, though, this right now is from the system notice. This came out about a month ago, so we've actually known about this for a while, guys. Sorry I didn't get to it sooner. I honestly should have. I just thought people had seen this. I did cover it when it was first announced, but there you go, April the 8th. However, if we look at the addition to the event calendar that went live this morning, you can see it's saying it's going to go till April 10th. So I believe this must be the correct thing, and they just obviously didn't update the old system notice. Who would think it? They made a mistake. However, it's going to be exactly 20 days then, right? We're going to have 21 days. We're going to have from the 21st to the 31st, that's 11 days, and then from the 1st to the 10th, that is another 10. Should be plenty of time, a full 3 weeks. I will say, based on this being the first limited fusion on global, I do not anticipate it is going to be overwhelmingly difficult. I cannot say that for certainty. I've never done one. Because it's the first and they're giving us 3 weeks, I think we should all be pretty set. So let's go back to that system notice, and I do want to talk about the what. That's a really big, juicy question, right? What the heck even is this? How is it going to be different from past fusions that we have had? Well, like I said, those were shard summoning events, which this game does not consider fusions. I refer to them as fusions. I think many people do, just because at the end of the day, we're gathering things, we're fusing them together, and we're getting a new hero, right? However, this is a traditional fusion. So what do I mean by that? We are getting copies of heroes, we're fusing those heroes together to make new heroes, and we're fusing those heroes together to make our big grand prize hero. And this is going to be a time-limited fusion. So what does that mean? Once this fusion's over, just like Alistair, if you remember that was a shard summoning event or a shard summoning fusion. This traditional fusion over here, once it ends, Krodor will be gone until they bring him back with another fusion. It's as simple as that. He will not be joining the normal hero pool. So I'm going to give a shout out to Ray from the Dragon Slayers. He has every single hero in the game except for Krodor on his Forerunner account, because when this fusion arrived on Forerunner, he chose not to do it. Now, for Pokédex collection purposes alone, that is not a choice I agree with, but as you'll see later in the video when we get to the why, I really think this guy is a must-fuse hero for every single player in the game, from early game to literally the end game. Literally all the guys in Mad and Dragon Slayers are going to have to fuse this guy. I firmly believe that. So what is a traditional fusion? We actually have one permanently in the game. Well, we have several actually when it comes to the epics, but we do have one legendary one. It is not limited time, but it is limited quantity. you can fuse Abomination once, so he is no longer here for me. But now you can see these are some epics. So this is how the first part of the fusion is going to work, right? You've got Navros, Komodo, Livian, Theo, and Lightlock, right? Basically, you get a bunch of rares, you fuse them together to make an epic, then you get the epics, and you fuse them together to get Abomination. It's going to look a lot like that. That basically is the what of what we are doing here. You know, that is the gist of how this limited traditional style fusion will work. If we go right back down to the system notice, you'll see commanders who complete various events in this period will be able to earn Gagron, who can be fused into the epic hero Draga over in the Hero Fusion tab. From there, Draga can be then fused into the brand new legendary North Throne hero Krodor. So guys, that is going to be our what. Now for the where. And I'm not trying to be silly here. I'm not saying where like in the game Watcher of Realms. That is obvious. I mean, where are you going to earn these new heroes? And if that's not clear, Gagron is not in the game. Draga was released to the game, but I think mostly by accident because almost no one has her. She is a Nightmare Council defender. You can see she's hiding over here. She's one of the only 3 epics in the gallery that I do not have because she's going to be added to the hero pool formally, and then the new rare fighter, Gagron, who has not arrived yet, but will be right around here. I've checked on the test server. It'll be right around Duradel's area. We will be able to get copies of him, fuse them into the Draga that we need, and then fuse the Dragas that we need to make our Krodor. So where will we be earning those copies of Gagron and perhaps those copies of Draga? Well, quite simply, they will be available in events in Oracle's Trials. So right now, let's just click on this Lost Legacy. You can see you have your individual rewards on the bottom. You also have some podium rewards and stuff if you get top 3, extra rewards for top 10. This is how it's going to be. Certainly, you'll be able to earn like copies of Gagron like this. You also, with events, let's see if we have an event live right now. Yes, we've got the Quarter of Glory. You can see maybe instead of 2 rare summoning crystals, it will be a copy of Gagron as well. Something like that. Maybe it'll be multiple copies. We'll have to see once it goes live. And we'll get probably 16 copies of Gagron. That's what's most likely. It's also possible that for the where, there'll be some other area that's added or some other event or some other big grand prize, maybe towards the end, where you can get a copy of Draga directly. This is common in other games that do fusions like this. I'm thinking, for example, Raid Shadow Legends, but that is not confirmed. It is not for sure. So likely we'll just be earning our Gagron copies through these different events and Oracle's Trials, and that is very much the where. You know, that's where we're going to find them. It is possible we can find and earn Draga copies too, but that I absolutely cannot confirm. Now to answer the how, and this is the last big part of the process. The who and why will be mostly about Krodor himself and why you should actually go for the fusion. So with the how, with all the information we have learned and I have told you so far, I can truly articulate how exactly this process will work and the way this traditional limited fusion for Krodor will play out. So we know it's going to happen over 3 weeks beginning this Thursday. We know that it is going to be a traditional limited fusion. It's going to be a new heroes here. If we fuse them in that time, great, you got them. Otherwise, you don't. We know that there are going to be different places we have to go to earn copies of these rare heroes and epic heroes that are getting introduced into the pool. Now, how does the whole thing work? Well, let's go back to our fusion tab here and let's harken back to Abomination, because that's exactly how it's going to work. Once you have accomplished and understood everything that I already explained, once you have all those pieces, how do you actually do the fusion? So, it's simple. Let's use the Abomination fusion as an example and a direct parallel for what we are going to be doing here. I already fused Abomination and he is a one-time fusion, so I headed over to the test server so I could show you guys here. Obviously, I didn't need to fuse him on the test server. So, you can see, we need 4 epics. Komodo, Vortex, Daemon, and Harpoon. They all need to be 5 stars, max level, and 5 stars of promotion. At that point, you can add those copies in and fuse yourself a brand new Abomination. As you can see in this fusion, 3 of these guys had to be pulled. Vortex, Daemon, and Harpoon. And this is a good time to say, if you do pull copies of Draga, you can just use those. It's not like you can only use fused copies of Draga. So that is an interesting wrinkle, especially since a lot of people will be summoning a lot during the fusion events that have summoning to do, and they might pick up some Draga copies. However, the way you can imagine this fusion working is if all 4 of these were Komodo. Because all 4 will be Draga, why do I pick Komodo? Well, he's the one you could actually fuse, and this is what this is going to look like. For Komodo, you had to get Borit, Cuke, Drogo, and Spring, bring them all to 4 stars, level 40, 4 stars of promotion. Then you could take all those copies, fuse yourself a Komodo. So imagine if this, instead of being these 4 rares and Komodo, all 4 of these were Gagron, and then this was Draga, and you had to do it 4 times. that is what it is going to look like, right? You'll get your 4 rares, which you can earn again from the events and stuff, but also just from summons. That still can happen, and a lot of you will be summoning a lot, and you probably will pick up copies of Gogron, right? So you might be able to skip events here and there. You'll earn those copies one way or another. You'll have to take 16 of them to level 40 4 stars of promotion. Then you will make 4 Dragas. You'll take those 4 Dragas. Imagine these were all Draga. You'll take those 4 Dragas, bring them up to level 40, then star them up to 5 stars, bring them up to level 50, make them 5 stars of promotion, and boom, fuse the 4 completed Dragas together for the fusion, and you've got yourself a Krodor. It might feel complicated, but it is really just a bunch of simple steps, and at the end of the day, you got yourself a free, amazing, legendary hero, Krodor. So on that note, let's talk about the who. Alright, so if you're looking for a full guide on Krodor, my guide on him will be coming out later in the week. That's something to look forward to. You know I'm going to dive deep, but for now, I just want to give you an overview of the hero. So what you need to know, he is a legendary tank from the North Throne. He's a defender. His damage scales off defense, so that is quite unique in this game. There's not many heroes that have that. He's got some damage reductions. He's got some nice stuns, and most importantly, he has a ton of block. I'm going to read through these skills really quickly. If you guys want to find this graphic, it's available on the Discord, the official Watcher of Realms Discord. Basically, talent, damage scales off of defense, increases defense by 20% for 20 seconds each time taking damage, capping at 20% defense. Pretty strong, considering defense will help with some of his damage mitigation, but most importantly, that is what his damage will scale off of. Then capabilities, they're saying damage reduction and control. We'll get into that over here. Basic attack deals 100% damage to one enemy. Again, that damage will scale off of his defense. Now, the ultimate increases block by 2 and defense by 70%. This effect lasts 15 seconds. Now, this one is really sweet. Increase block by 2. That means with a base 3 block, with a Bastion Ring 4, plus the ult 2, he's got a block of 6. You can just imagine how powerful that will be. The defense boost, again, nice for damage mitigation, but most importantly, it is going to lead to a damage boost because that's where his damage is coming from. Now, his first passive, once HP drops below 30%, immediately enters a state of anger, bellows at up to 10 enemies, so a big AoE there, ahead of him, and inflicts attack reduction on them. The next 5 basic attacks change into striking at most 10 enemies, again big AoE, dealing 150% AoE damage and inflicting stun. This is going to be a 1-second stun, I checked on the test server. The ultimate is not available during the stage. This effect can only be triggered 1 time per deployment. So if you redeploy him, it's one thing. Otherwise, it's just like a one big cool thing that happens. We have that with a lot of defender heroes. You know, there's something that happens once per deployment. The final passive here, based on the number of adjacent allies, increases physical damage reduction and damage dealt. The effect reaches a maximum of 12% when there are 3 allies in range. So if there are 3 allies in the squares immediately around him, then he's going to get a nice bit of physical damage reduction, as well as a little bit of a damage boost. All in all, good hero. The block is tremendous, so when we get into the why in just one moment, I'll be very focused on that. As for the other damagey stuff in his kit, you will have to wait for my guide later in the week because I want to test him out thoroughly and really see what his damage dealing capabilities are. So finally, why should you go for this guy? I can give a few reasons, and I will, but the simple answer is Hellfire Emperor Immortal Codex boss. For the tank codex, Krodor is going to be endgame completely meta viable. He will be used by everybody. He'll be used by all the top players in the entire world. I do not see how that will not be possible. He has 6 block. What more do you need to know? It is basically just block codex, and if we head back into the game, I believe only Gon has more block in the game than he does. You know, Gon with the Bastion Ring and his ult active is going to have 7 block. Krodor has 6. The only other competitor would probably be Cyrus. We're talking 2 legendary lords right now, guys. For normal players, Krodor is going to be the cream of the crop when it comes to block. And with Cyrus, it's not like he himself can block more than Krodor, but once he gets some skeleton warriors out, maybe a skeleton fighter, he will have probably at least as much, if not more, blocking capability. But, you know, if this guy can only be compared in terms of sheer blocking prowess to 2 ancient exclusive legendary lords, he's pretty good. He's going to be used, I think, not just by almost everybody, but literally by everybody. I mean, 6 block is 6 block. There's not much more to it. If we want to talk other uses, we can head back to the game again. I think he's not going to be the greatest tank in the game, you know, to compete with someone like Reeve or Cyrus or Gon or Brokir. However, he's going to be perfectly good and serviceable, and that is something that's actually quite rare when it comes to just a defender being a good tank. What do I mean by that? Well, someone like Azor, not a good tank. Constance, awesome hero, not a good tank, right? Krodor, amazing legendary lord, but honestly, not such a good tank. 25 cost, not that cool. Krodor, with all his block and lower cost, is going to bring a lot more use, right? If we keep going, Aurum, not the best tank in the world. Actually, when it comes to easily accessible tanks, there's really only Regulus and Brokir. Now, because this is going to be 100% free-to-play Legendary Limited Fusion, Krodor is going to be a can't-miss for many early, mid, and even late-game players. I myself will probably try him out. You don't know what's coming in the future in Void Rift, but for endgame players like me, and then top endgame players, even like those big boys in Mad and the Shire and the Dragon Slayers community, they're going to have to use him too, because he's going to be a frickin' god for Hellfire Emperor, the blocking, tanky Codex. I'm going to wrap it up right there. I really think I covered all my bases. What's up, Krodor? How you doing, buddy? This was a doozy to film, so I really hope you guys appreciate it. I have at least 2 more videos on Krodor coming this week. That is going to be a guide on the hero himself, as well as a fusion prep guide. That one should be coming tomorrow. The hero guide later in the week. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any questions, let me know in my Discord, the Fast and Fastidious, link in the description. Let me know on Twitch, where I'll be streaming live right after this video is published, twitch.tv/FastidiousYT, or just ask me right here in the comments. Thank you so much. Share it with your mother. I'll see you real soon.
Fastidious.